Hey you guys, on today's video, I want to talk to you about kettlebells. I don't want to talk to you about specific exercises or specific technique tips. I want to talk about the things that I wish I had known before I got started with kettlebells, so that if you're interested, you know these things from the get-go. So I have been using this little baby now for over 3 years, and I love them. At first, I was given kettlebells actually as a birthday gift, and I got them and I was kind of like, ugh, this is just going to be another fitness fad. I don't really understand the difference between this and using a dumbbell. I just kind of thought that we were just getting ourselves some really expensive dumbbells. Well, that's not the case at all. I started actually researching them and using them, and oh my gosh, if you have never used a kettlebell before, I really hope that you reach into it or look into it and start getting kind of familiar with it and experimenting. Just start with doing simple things like squats and lunges to kind of test the difference. One of the things that I wish I had known from the beginning was the difference between a dumbbell versus a kettlebell. Why choose one over the other? So with a dumbbell, you have your normal weight, you have a weight on one side, you have weight on the other, you have handle going down the middle. You know the exact center. If you were strong enough, you could balance that dumbbell on your finger, right? You know the center of gravity. For a kettlebell, because of the way that it's built, with the weight on one side, the handle on the other, the center of gravity isn't so simple. There's no place that you can really try to balance it up on your fingertips, right? And because of that, it's gonna make you engage your core in a completely different way. So not only are you gonna be using your muscles to actually do the exercise, whether it's curls or presses or squats and lunges, but you're gonna have to engage your core more than you would with any other exercise or any other like dumbbells or barbells. Another great thing about that is with the handle, you're able to do what's called ballistic movements. Fast movements, like with your swing or your pop squats and things like that. And that's gonna help you not only build strength and build muscle definition, but it's also gonna give you one heck of a cardio ride while you're doing your workout too. Number two, the second thing that I wish I had known about kettlebells from the get-go is that it is called a kettlebell, not a kettlebell. Okay, so maybe I knew this one from the get-go, but it's always one of my personal pet peeves. And it's something that I tell my clients when I do kettlebell clinics. And the first thing I say, all right, you guys, this is a kettlebell, it is not a kettlebell. Do not do that. That's gonna take away your street cred before you even get started. So don't do that. It's kind of like nails on a chalkboard to somebody who's really into kettlebells. Tip number 3, I wish I had known from the get-go that it was normal and I should just be ready to start off by getting bruises on my wrist. There's no way around it. It's gonna be uncomfortable from the get-go, especially if you're doing it correctly, because when you're holding the kettlebell in the right position, you're gonna be having that weighted ball part of the kettlebell resting on your forearm. And yes, that means you're gonna get some bruises right along the backside. Totally normal. You can use wrist guards to help with this, but I don't recommend if you're just getting started to use wrist guards, because I want you to feel the movement. If you're doing it wrong, you're gonna know that you're doing it wrong. And when you do it right, it clicks. And, oh, that's what it's supposed to feel like. And if you're using a wrist guard, it's kind of easy not to really get that sensation. So until you have your form down pat, ignore the wrist guards and just know it's gonna be a little bit uncomfortable. Next thing I wish I had known, you're gonna get some really ugly man hands. You're gonna get calluses and you're gonna get rips. And that's just how it is. If you don't want those things, you can use weightlifting gloves, but really either way, it helps tremendously if you actually have some calluses build up. So if you're anti having that callus, then maybe kettlebells isn't for you, but it's gonna happen. And in fact, when you get your first rip when you're getting started, it's kind of an initiation into the kettlebell club. I've had my fair share of rips, not because of poor performance, but if you're doing a lot of reps in a workout, it just kind of sometimes happens. And your hands will get stronger. Just because you ripped your first time doesn't mean that that's gonna continuously happen. I haven't ripped in a really long time. When it comes to your calluses, if you take care of them, they are manageable, they are not so bad. Every time I take mine down, they kind of come up super fast again. But you can take care of them. I cut mine, this is kind of gross. I use just normal nail clippers to actually like cut my calluses off. Some people I've also used things like the wad rod, which is a rod with a piece of sandpaper, and you can, that sounds terrible, and you can take your calluses off that way and file them down. But you wanna make sure that you do let them build up a little bit. It's gonna help in the long run. And then the last thing I wish I had known about kettlebells before I ever got started was what kind of results that I could actually see. Again, I got them as a birthday gift. I didn't know anything. It was kind of just something that I was like, all right, cool, I'll give this a shot. But you guys, all of my strength and my definition that I have, I truly have kettlebells to thank for that. I've lifted weights for over a decade now, and my body didn't respond to anything like it does kettlebells. And if I had known about that when I first got my kettlebells, I probably would have been a little bit more excited as opposed to being like, thanks for the birthday gift. I would have been like, yes, this is gonna be awesome, and I would have been so excited to give it a go. And then one last thing that I probably should have mentioned before that is kettlebells, you should know, even if you are super athletic, you're gonna have to go through an educational phase where you're actually giving yourself some patience to learn the moves. There have been very few people, if any, that I know that have been able to master their kettlebell skills from the get-go. This is a new way of handling weight, and you're gonna have to move your body in a different way and really practice it. Be patient with yourself, and great things are gonna happen. So those are the things that I wish I had known about kettlebells before I ever got started. And I hope that that answers some questions and concerns that you have about them. But one thing I can promise you is that they're super amazing. You're gonna get some awesome results. So next time you're at your gym, don't shy away from them. If you're like, I have no idea where to start, but I want to, make sure to go over to fitwomensweekly.net. I have my strong program over there, which is actually completely kettlebell based. If you like this video, make sure that you subscribe to my channel, and don't be afraid to leave a comment down below. Have you ever used kettlebells before? If you have, what are your favorite exercises? What do you love most, and what do you like least about them? Obviously, I love how much of a badass they make me feel, but I kind of do hate that my hands are pretty gross all the time. So that's just my own say, but I'd love to hear your opinions as well. Make sure to head over to fitwomensweekly.net, and I will talk to you guys soon.